You go. Come, Mama, do lah. Okay, you park too. You walk through. Actually, it's okay because he's going to be here. It's fine. Taking a break from work, and I am off to Sungai Buloh because I want to get some soil. I've actually planted some lady's finger, not lady's fingers. What did I plant? I think it's petola or bendi. I can't remember what I planted recently, and it's already germinated. So now I need to transfer it to a bigger pot. But I've ran out of soil because I used some of the soil to go and cover up my compost. So we're off to Sungai Buloh. Kan, Papa?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do
That's Iman. We wanted to take the whole family. We wanted to take the whole family, but then Isidore was still asleep and Belle has gymnastics, so it's just her coming along. You better sit down, girl.
I don't want.
Hey, sit down.
Okay, we're doing live gardening. Live gardening.
So I normally do all my gardening early in the morning when everyone is asleep. But I think I've decided after my yoga session this morning, there are people who actually watch. Yay! So I'm going to be demonstrating, not really demonstrating, it's going to be me just showing you my sky garden. That was another thing that a lot of people have requested for, to see how I actually do my sky garden. It's amazing because I actually live in a condo and I have this little small corner. Again, I will show it to you tomorrow. I might have some before and after pictures inside my phone that I can share with you. Otherwise, you can just go to my Instagram and look for hashtag Iking Azmi Garden. I'm sure it's there somewhere in the history. But yeah, so I'm really excited to be sharing with you just my garden. For the longest time though, every time I buy a chili plant, it always dies. So I'm now on the way to Sungai Buloh. Hopefully they have it on the chili, and let's see if this time around I can actually sustain a chili plant, because that
Chili,
is one.
yummy. I like chili.
You like chili, yeah? Because that is one thing that I've noticed that I can never grow. It always dies on me, and it is something that is very integral in our kitchen. It's a staple food in our kitchen, and I have to keep buying. So yeah, awesome. Let's see if we've got a chili plant. I tell myself that anytime I go shopping, before I go shopping or go out, I should eat something from home. Because when you start shopping, when you're hungry, you tend to overshop. And it's not just for groceries for me, it's everything, because I'm just hungry. Luckily I found a snack. It's not exactly a snack, it's junk food. It's in my handbag, so I'm sharing it with everyone. The rain has stopped. Hopefully I can find my chili plant. Hospital, Sungai Buloh. Alright, we're here. It's basically just after the Sungai Buloh hospital, and you see all these nurseries. We've got a particular favourite one, we just don't know which one. We've not been here in a while. Right, here we are. This wasn't here before, so that's why we couldn't really recognise it. Hopefully they're still open. Careful, okay, man?
Yeah, I wait.
It's okay. Careful. So, tutup eh?
Saya pun dah betul. Cubalah tanya.
Tutup eh?
Nak ambil tanah je.
I'm just trying my luck and just gonna buy the tanah and try and get whatever it is else. I want to get my chili plant, but let's see if we can find it. Can we find it? Hate shopping on pressure. They've actually closed, but I'm just gonna try. I think I'll grab this. Chili is a little bit harder to jaga, so I'm gonna get the kampung chili. Alright, Iman, let's go. Oh, ini mesti kena panas. Okay, saya nak satu lah. Ni ada orang ambil dah?
Ni tak ada.
Ambil yang bagus punya lah. Let's try my limau kasturi. Okay, bos bayar. Thank you. What is that?
I don't like it.
You like cats? You do? Oh, there's a cat.
Tanah berapa, Nan?
5.
Sometimes cats scratch.
Oh, because it scratched you? No, don't let one bad experience make you dislike.
When I disturb them? When I disturb them?
Yeah, when you disturb them. Some are just moody cats. You know how people can be moody too. So some animals can be moody. But it doesn't mean all animals are going to scratch you. I am so lucky because initially they were closed. They are closed, but I just like zas masuk and we bought our stuff. So time to go back home. Right, on here. Let's close up. The highway, we've got all these nurseries setting up. Is that even legal, ba?
No man's land.
No man's land. Usually they do it where there's a lot of, what is it called those? Those electricity cables. Tanah haram. See, still more there. Alright, a very good morning and thank you all for watching, those who've been waiting. I'm so sorry, I know Irvin has actually said something that the video earlier on was not as smooth. I'm not sure if it's because of the connection. Hopefully later when because we record this live, when it's actually published and left on the vlog, it will be smooth running. Maybe I should switch this off because I can actually hear myself. Anyway, here I am at my Sky Garden. This is the Iking Azmi Garden. If you take a look at all my Instagram posts, we've got the hashtag and you can actually see the history of this place that used to be dry before about 3 years ago. This used to be really empty. It was just this ugly cement block. And it's actually quite near to our bathroom. This is the master bedroom level. And it's quite near to the bathroom. And every time I look out, I'm like, oh my God, so ugly, so ugly. So one day I asked my mom and I said, do you think it's possible for me to have like a little taman here, or at least to make this pretty by putting some nice pebbles and maybe a water feature or something? And she looked at it and she said, yeah, I think it is possible. So this is about how big is this pie? It's about 6 feet 12. It's very small. As you can see, the how big I am compared to this thing. It's really, really tiny. And Shukur, Alhamdulillah, we went to Sungai Buloh and we went and bought, I think, if I'm not mistaken, about 200 packets of this. We started just laying out the foundation, putting all the earth. I remember my late father, he was the only one everyone else was helping, was joining in. We were supposed to go and adjourn to my sister's for lunch, but before that we said, let's get the garden, at least the base started. So my dad was sitting at the corner over there. That time Iman was just maybe 2014, she must have been like 2-3 years old. And we were all here, just pouring the earth. Mom told me to keep one side of the corner for my compost, which I've done, and that's been there for the longest time, except that I've got another little compost area because now that's a place for all the leaves. Because as you can see, my Sky Garden is quite crazy. I wanted to do this live at the time where I normally do my gardening. Sometimes I get in here a bit earlier, but I thought it'd be crazy for me to go live at 5 o'clock in the morning. And kebetulan, I was slightly behind time. This time around, we wanted to add in a video of what took place before, what happened yesterday when I wanted to go and get some earth, because a few days ago, about a week ago, I actually planted this, which is the petola tree or petula plant, and it's finally germinated and it's good enough to be transferred. It's just that I don't have any space anymore for it to grow, and that's when I realized, oh my goodness, I don't even have any soil, extra soil, because the other soil has been used for my other compost area, which is at the back. And I needed to go to Sungai Buloh, so I took a break from editing and I took my husband Azmi for a drive and we went to Sungai Buloh, hence the video earlier on. So what we're going to be doing today is basically just a short introduction. I know some people have actually asked for a tour around my Sky Garden. We've only got one camera. Eventually, hopefully one day, we will be having like an MCP or a multi-cam production using aLIVE, but I think for now we're good to go with our vlog camera, just one. So we'll try and make do, and I'll try and show you around whatever I can first and foremost. Okay, so this place has seen and grown some crazy shit. I've grown cucumber, which was just going crazy over here, and I didn't think that cucumbers would take up so much space. Their leaves are really humongous. I had a butter squash that was growing. I think it was because it was a time when I first started feeding or weaning Iman off, and we started off with butter squash, and I used, of course, I threw the seeds when it was done, and it was at my compost area, and that sort of grew, and I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful plant, let's just see what happens here. And it turned out to be a butter squash plant, but that was also killing my other plants. So some of the staples, oh please don't rain, some of the staple plants that are always here is, of course, my pandan tree. We've got my curry plant tree that's just going crazy at the back. Okay, I'm actually sheltered, so it's fine. It's drizzling, but there's a bit of a shade here, so I'm fine. As long as B, you're fine? Can you hear me? No, I'm here. It's sheltered. It's just at the back. As I mentioned, one of the staples that I've always kept here is the pandan tree. I think that's really important, and it grows like crazy. It used to be like this small little bunch. We've got my curry plant, which I also took from the nursery in Sungai Buloh, the very same nursery that you saw early on. And it was just a small little plant, and look, it's like a crazy tree. I had to chop off the upper part right after my pantang because it was covering so much. This used to be sheltered with this type of, what do you call this? It's covering, this shading thing. But I decided to remove it because I noticed that things were growing like crazy over here. I've got my kunyit, I've got my ginger, I've got my serai or the lemongrass. So these are some of, my limau purut at the back. So at least if I wanted to cook, or not me, my husband or Lena, they would just pluck as and when they needed all these things, all right? So it is raining right now. I'm just gonna move in a little bit nearer. I'm fine actually. I love the rain, I love the sun, and I'm very much in tune with my SkyGarden. This is the place where I really seek solace, and probably the only place that no one really disturbs me because I'm the only one that truly enjoys gardening. And I've noticed that if I go away for longer periods of time and I don't tend to my garden, I'm very blessed because it just goes crazy. Like I will get someone to come in to help me water, or I'll find a system to do it. I don't have an irrigation system, but I find a way to do it. And I noticed that when I'm away, it goes even more crazier. So I've not actually done anything to this place or cleaned up or trimmed or pruned this area since I got back from US, because I've been so crazy busy. So I thought today would be the day, but now that it's raining, I think that's going to be a little bit difficult. So what I will be doing is I'm going to introduce to you a few plants that I bought yesterday at Sungai Buloh, and I'll explain why I bought them. First and foremost, I've always wanted to grow the aloe vera plant. Are we okay for sound? And please do leave your comments. I switched off my phone because I didn't want it to distract me. We're good? Yeah, and just leave your comments if you want to leave your comments. Hopefully Azmi can see it. I've always wanted to have the aloe vera plant here at home because it is a great medicinal plant that you can use as an ornament or an ornamental plant. You can actually put this in a windowsill, make sure that it has a nice little, I put it in another nice little IKEA pot, so it's a white pot. Just wanted to show it to you guys. And I actually can start removing, this is probably the mother plant, I can actually start removing this and put it in another pot, but I'm not going to be doing that today. I just wanted to tell you why I particularly found this in Sungai Buloh, and I said yes, I'm going to make sure that I buy it this time around, because after US I've noticed that I had so much sunburnt skin that I like going organic, I like going natural, and this is a perfect way of just, you know, putting it over your face or your skin, which is sunburn, and it really does so much wonder. You've got it also sold in the shops, those easy to wear squeeze, but I'd rather go natural, and it's also a great beautiful plant to have at your windowsill. So this is one. I'm not going to disturb this today. I'm just going to let the baby plants grow more, and later on I'll replant it or repot it. I've also got myself down soup, because down soup is something that my family always puts in our soups. We're a big fan of this Chinese celery. It smells delicious. I've always attempted to try and plant it through its seeds, but it never ever grows to this size. Or I've tried doing it like I buy it from the supermarket, you know, those little herb, small potted ones, but it never, and it comes in that little square pot, but it never grows. So I've decided to do a bit of research on it, and I said, let's just buy one that is, you know, it's from medium height, and it basically needs a lot of moisture, but it can't be soggy because it can get rotten in the roots. So I've got to be very, very careful about this. I will be planting this, or I'm going to leave this until it grows a little bit more thicker in size of the stem, and I'm going to be leaving it at this windowsill, not downstairs in the kitchen, because that's where I used to leave all my other herbs, which is fine, but for some reason I think it's just too hot over there. I feel my bathroom area is a better place. I've got some house plants there, so I'm going to try and leave that here. So that was another plant that I actually bought from Sungai Buloh yesterday at the nursery. This is the chili plant, another staple in any Asian household, chili. This is probably my 4th chili plant. I could never ever sustain a chili plant. So for those of you who love gardening, who have chili plants that thrive, please do share with me some of your tips. I know I read online that it likes a lot of sun, but it cannot be directly under the sun, and it likes a lot of water, but it cannot be too overwatered. So it's a very delicate plant in that sense. I remember a time when my dad had a chili plant that just kept growing bigger and bigger, and it produced so many chili plants, and he said just leave it there under the sun. And it was at my mother's car porch area, and he was right. So I have to find a place where it receives a lot of sun, yet it's sheltered. So I'll probably find an area over here. Now I'm not going to do it because it's raining, so I'm going to leave this chili alone. But I will not forget you, okay? I will not forget you. I do talk to my plants. I think people who talk to their plants, I really believe that the plants do have feelings, and they do thrive better if you connect with them. And last but not least, I've got the calamansi, or the limau kasturi. I've actually got 2 limau purut plants. They're really thorny, you know, so we have to be careful. There's one here, and there's one growing at the back, but it's not fruiting. It's great when I want the down. Sometimes you want the down, and then you chop it, and you mix it with your, I can't remember which, I think it's the, I don't know, one of the recipes, the Malay dishes that Lina and my husband always cooks, but they use a lot of the limau purut daun, which is beautiful. The smell is just gorgeous. But I want to try and...
Melina Yating asking where you buy your plants.
I bought my plants, I'm not sure if you missed out the video earlier on. I actually normally buy it in Sungai Buloh. There's a nursery there. It's right after the Sungai Buloh Hospital, and it's just before the Pegaj, I think it's the Gigi place. It's just somewhere there. But if you take a look at our video earlier on, I don't have the name because it's like a whole stretch there, but there's one particular stall that I always go to, and unfortunately yesterday it was closed, but we managed to get some plants and as well as soil, so we couldn't really see the outside for you guys to see exactly which stall, but they've got a row of stalls there and they sell all these gorgeous stuff, and it's lebih kurang the same price. So this is the limau kasturi, and it's already got some. You see, it's flowering. The only danger to this is that this as well, and especially the chili plant, it's prone to aphids and mealybugs. So that is something that I need to address. The sun is coming out. I think the rain is also stopping. So what I'm going to concentrate on first and foremost, since I can't do any trimming and pruning, because I'm actually wearing the mic today. I was worried that I'll be doing a lot of walking around, and Azmi decided to mic me up instead. So I don't want to get the mic wet. I'm going to put this here. What I'm going to do first is, I guess, transfer this, which is the petola plant. I've never actually grown this before. This is my kacang. It's already growing some flowers here. Kacang panjang, you know, runner beans, the long ones. And I always try and plant stuff that I like to eat. I know the family will enjoy. We've grown kangkong here, but that takes ages. And they're so skinny. Mom said it's because I planted it too near to each other. But yeah, I've grown kangkong, sawi, and bayam. It's just that it takes a lot of space, and I wanted stuff that will just space, you know.
Asking what fertilizer you use.
I have a mixture of both. I've got my compost. I wanted to show you also how I do my compost if there's enough time. So I've got compost, basically all my kitchen waste. I put it in this container and maybe wait for it for a week or two. I used to have like a organic compost booster to make it, you know, cepat, but that's so expensive sometimes to get it from Ace Hardware, but it does help. But now I just sort of mix it with soil and leave it there, and I keep adding on more kitchen waste to that soil until it becomes really, really dark, and then I sort of tabur that compost to my plants. I also have organic animal waste like chicken, tai ayam, tai kambing, basically. And I do this once in 2 weeks, if I remember, or if I see that, yeah. But because I think my compost, I keep on putting it in, I keep on returning my kitchen waste back to this soil. You see this? This is my kunyit. Yeah, this is my kunyit plant. This was just crazily over the past few weeks because this is quite near to my compost area. Can you see that? I'm not sure if you can see. This house plant used to be this small, and I remember going for a long trip. So again, I'm afraid, I don't know if B, can you actually swing to the wall area? It's going to be a bit dark. We've got this, basically we wanted to cover, well, we can't swing our camera there because we've got all these cables and stuff. But at the back, I also have this like vertical wall of all these sort of plants. I don't know what sort of plants, but you know, it's a very popular house plant, and they're all really tiny. Anyway, as I was mentioning, because that part is sheltered, I wanted to make sure that that would get some natural rainfall when I was on holiday, when I didn't have anyone to come and water it. So I put all those pots at the back, and of course, you know, after 2 weeks, some of the plants grew, and I cut it because I didn't want to spoil the mother plant. I just cut it, and that's it. Look how huge the leaves are. Sometimes when I look at it, and I'm like, and I remember how tiny it was, and now I look at it, I'm like, and looking at the akar, I'm like, yikes, that is kind of scary. But that's just how subur the earth bed here is. Okay, I talk, but not doing any action. I just did my nails a few days ago, so the last thing I want to be doing is to ruin my manicure. I used to use plastic or those rubber gloves. Then I realized that when I didn't like them anymore, or when they became gross, I'll just throw it away, and I don't think that's very healthy for the environment because I kept wasting it. Basically, try and use non-plastic, non-rubber if you can, unless you can reuse it again. I've got a little bin also. I segregate my paper, my tin, my glass. I try to, at least. So these are my gardening gloves. So every time it gets dirty or it gets gross, all I have to do is just wash it, dry it, and it's good as new. So try and get some garden gloves that are sturdy. You can get them from Daiso or from Ace Hardware, and at least you can get all your gardening done without being grossed out or spoiling your nails. The only problem is when you want to do tiny stuff. That's when I have to use or take it out. But I'll manage. Okay, so I think I will put this. It's gonna be one of those crawly plants, I think. So I'm gonna use, this was actually a friend of mine was using this as a hamper, which is smart because she knows that I like gardening. So it was a place to keep all my she sent me a hamper of products, and it was placed in this, and she said, look, you can actually recycle it because I know you like gardening. And that was very smart, because yesterday I realized, I said, oh man, I bought all my tana and stuff, but I don't have a proper place to keep it. So I've got this. So thank you so much. You know who you are. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I need to start clearing out some of the ginger. Ginger grows, it's matured or ready for harvest 6 months for young, 9 months if you want it to be matured, and this is definitely more than 6-9 months. This is what I do with the sarai. I normally just keep trimming it. I think I need to also add on more tana here. All right. I bought about 5 packs of this, and Azmi actually asked me, is that enough? Are you sure it's enough? And hopefully it is, because I've got another flowering pot that I want to use eventually for my limau, but it's slightly bigger than that. Never mind. Hopefully by then my compost will be okay. Oh, I think it should be enough, because I've got this and it can cover this side. Why I like gardening in the morning is because, one, it's not as hot. 2, right after prayers and whatever you have to do in the toilet, it's just a nice place to just set your mind and just relaxing your mind before the busy day starts. And again, this is a place where I like to seek solace. Sometimes I meditate here. I wish I could do yoga here, but it's just not big enough. All right, so we've got the bed. And I'm gonna transfer this. I'm not sure, I put some seeds here, but I'm not sure what I planted. I know this came out beautifully, so that can't be it. I really don't know what this is. I'll just have to wait until it's bigger, and then what I normally do is I smell the leaves to try and figure out what it is. Oh well, I know for sure this is a patola. Patola is delicious. Huh? Sometimes I take a picture. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone can see what this is. These two, I have no idea what I planted, or if it's just there with some magical creation. This one I definitely planted. I just wanted to try one biji and it grew. Does anyone know? No? Sometimes I take a picture and I send it to mom. And she goes, Mang kali! Itu. This is the first time I'm actually trying out the patola. So hopefully it grows. I think it's one of those crawly plants too. Earlier on, another reason why we were slightly lagging was because Isidore was crying.
I'm just asking where the kids.
The kids, they were here just now. In fact, that was another reason why I heard him crying downstairs and I had to bring him up. And he's a little bit cramped. Normally we don't. I normally have access like up and down, but obviously we've got our camera equipment. Isidore was here just now. He was just sitting down. Iman is getting ready to go to school. Belle went to school already. Where is that panjang thing? How many of you actually enjoy gardening? I love gardening. I think I'll do it. Sini siring lah kan. Saya buat di siring. I'm not sure how big. Or maybe I'll do it in the middle. It's just as easy as tebuk lubang. And then trying to transfer as gently as you can. Oh shit. Oh. Ah. Normally it'll come out really nicely. See. Oh, that was the original biji. It's blue in color. Ah, this is the tricky part, is when normally if the akar or the roots are quite ready, it will, oh, bismillah, we have to be careful with this. So you see, that's the roots over there. Transfer it over here very carefully. Okay, grow. Please grow nicely. Should I just transfer the other ones here? Maybe I should. Hopefully it has more chance of growing better. Fortunately, there's like 2 or 3 of them, so someone has to give. So it's supposed to come out nicely out like this. Okay, one just fell off. Well, let's see what you grow into. Just plant you in a bigger bed. Okay, that's done. I normally also label it, but now that I know what this is, I don't. I've got all these like flower or plant labels which I keep, and I write it down with pencil when I actually planted it, just so that I can keep track. And on my fridge, which is there, I also have like post-its so that I remember when was the last time I fertilized my garden. That sounds so wrong. Fertilize my garden! Anyway, it's as simple as that. The sun is finally out. So isn't it great that you watched this SkyGarden when it was completely dark? We only had the lights which Azmi just switched off. And now it's nice and bright, although the sun isn't out, it's still drizzling. But I guess for those who love nature, you can see why I'm here first thing in the morning. So that's that, and I have to figure out where to place it, somewhere sheltered, obviously. I always thought I needed to water it straight away, but I was reading some articles online, like just let it get used to the new place first before you start watering it. And this soil is fairly damp, so I'll just leave it aside. Put this over here first. Oh no, this is dead. This was another, oh, it's not really dead, but it looks really pathetic, so I don't know, should I just leave it? I'll just leave it alone, and if it dies, then I will reuse the pot for something else. Maybe I'll put you here, where there's a bit more sun. Yeah, should I put you here? This used to have all these. When planning it, Mum said, no nyamuk. Do you feel nyamuk? Tak ada kan? Huh? Oh, is it? Oh. Okay, that's why you were going like that. I thought he asked me to stand up. There is no nyamuk so far, alhamdulillah, even though I've got house plants. But just to be on the safe side, my husband says there's no nyamuk here because probably we're on a high floor. But we don't have any problems with mosquitoes so far. But just to be on the safe side, for some of the house plants that I have in water, I put the obat jentik, the mosquito thingy, because you never can be sure. And both Azmi and I have been hit by dengue. So touch wood, we never ever want that to happen to us or our family members, ever. So I'm very careful, and I change the water, and then I'll add in a bit more of the obat nyamuk to prevent nyamuk from growing. I think I'll just leave it here. The thing is, this kacang plant is still growing more, and I think this is just a little bit too pendek. So I have to figure out how, or should I add in more, like a proper structure. They have those again in Ace Hardware. Because now it's all messy. I didn't expect it to grow, to be frank, because this was taken from the kacang seed that I have. It was an old plant and I said, let's try it out, and it actually grew. Okay. I have to start cleaning up. Yeah. Well, that's all for now, folks. I am gonna start cleaning up properly everything. It's just crazy over here. You know, the more I prune, especially the pandan, see? It's got all these little baby pandan. And this curry plant, I cut off this part, this area. It was really hard, by the way. I used a saw that I brought from Daiso. I bought a saw from Daiso. And then it looked so kasian, right? And then it started growing from the base. These are gorgeous, you know. It's really lovely when you're making, of course, curry. And when you're making like ayam kunyit, you use that it's really, really sedap. Yeah, I need to find more space. So this is my halia, my ginger. That's definitely ready to, it's just that I don't need it. Oh, it has a little baby flower here. You can eat that apparently. There's a flower, a ginger flower there. Yep, so that's about it. I'm gonna do some of my composting. I've got my compost bin is already full. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Malaysia Day, and this is going to be helmed by both Azmi and I. So wishing you a fabulous Friday, and thank you for watching.